I was in certain respects a rather precocious youngster. My glance, right from the start, was fraught with significance, and I was unquestionably the first child on my block to use the word indisposed in a sentence. My childhood was not, however, quite the gay whirl that one might imagine from the above statements. As a whistler, I was only fair, and I am to this very day unable to assume even a humane attitude in regard to gerbils. But then, as now, I was always capable of dealing with the larger issues. It was and is the little things that get me down. I did not learn how to tell time until I was 9 years old. This is an unusually advanced age at which to master the art, except perhaps in Southern California. My parents were understandably upset about my inability to tell time, for they possessed the foresight to realize that any child who talked back with such verve and snap would one day need a lawyer who charged by the hour. Furthermore, their infinite wisdom told them that it was exceedingly unlikely that the bill would arrive reading, "Consultation on contract with agent, $150, 1.5 hours. From big hand on 12, little hand on 3, to little hand on 4, big hand on 6. Their concern for my future well-being drove them to frantic efforts in an attempt to instill in me the knowledge that so painfully eluded my grasp. Night after night, I sat at the kitchen table and surveyed a bewildering array of clocks made from oatmeal cookies, peanut butter lids, and crayon circles of colored paper. They spelled each other, first one parent and then the other, taking turns on watch, so to speak. They were diligent, patient, and kind, and I nodded my head and looked alert, all the while seething with fury at the injustices of a world in which we didn't have Christmas, but we did have time. As the days wore on and my ignorance persisted, my parents toyed with the idea of renting me out as a parlor game, or at least trading me in for a child who couldn't learn something else. So weary were they of round, flattish objects. Outside intervention came in the form of an offer of help from my aunt to take me on for the week of my winter vacation. I was duly dispatched to Poughkeepsie, where I was alternately bribed with banana milkshakes and tortured with clocks devised from paper plates, circular throw pillows, and overturned frying pans. At the end of the week, I was returned to my parents, a thing that was once a child, as ever unable to tell time and newly addicted to banana milkshakes in a household that considered blenders frivolous. Some months later, I was taking a bath when I suddenly shouted Eureka, and at long last such concepts as 20 of 8 and 10 after 12 were touched with meaning. It should be readily apparent to all that under no circumstances will I ever consider yielding the need for such hard-won knowledge. That there does indeed exist the very real danger of such a possibility is entirely due to the invention of the digital clock. I spent the best years of my life learning to tell time, and I'm not stopping now. Neither should you. Here's why. 1. Regular clocks tell real time. Real time is time, such as 7:30. 2. Digital clocks tell fake time. Fake time is time, such as 9:17. 3. 9:17 is fake time because the only people who ever have to know that it's 9:17 are men who drive subway trains. 4. I am not a man who drives a subway train. 5. You are not a man who drives a subway train. 6. I can tell this without even seeing you, because anyone who has to know that it's 9:17 cannot possibly risk looking away. 7. Real watch faces are in the shape of watch faces because they must accommodate all of the things that make up a real watch, such as numbers, hands, and little minute lines. 8. Digital watch faces are in the shape of watch faces for no apparent reason. This cannot help but have an unsettling effect upon the young. Now that I have set the record straight on the matter of time, I should like to direct your attention briefly to another unacceptable invention. Pocket calculators. It took me 3 years to learn how to do long division, and so should they. 1. The rigors of learning how to do long division have been a traditional part of childhood, just like learning to smoke. In fact, as far as I am concerned, the two go hand in hand. Any child who cannot do long division by himself does not deserve to smoke. I am really quite a nice girl and very fond of children, but I do have my standards. I have never taught a child to smoke before he has first taken a piece of paper and a pencil and demonstrated to my satisfaction that he can correctly divide 163 by 12. 2. Pocket calculators are not inexpensive, and generally speaking, parents would be better off spending the money on themselves. If they must throw it away on their offspring, they would do well to keep in mind that a pack of cigarettes rarely costs more than 75 cents. 3. It is unnatural for anyone, let alone a child, to be able, under any circumstances whatsoever, to divide 17.3 by 945.8. 4. Pocket calculators encourage children to think that they have all the answers. If this belief were actually to take hold, they might well seize power, which would undoubtedly result in all of the furniture being much too small. A final word. I am not personally a parent, but I do have 2 godchildren and am expecting a 3rd. I am naturally concerned for their future. If I ruled the world, you could bet your boots that none of them would ever set their eyes on any such contraptions as digital clocks and pocket calculators. But alas, I do not rule the world, and that, I am afraid, is a story of my life. Always a godmother, never a god.